Welcome to the Real Estate Syndication Show. Whether you are a seasoned investor or building a new real estate business, this is the show for you. Whitney Sewell talks to top experts in the business. Our goal is to help you master real estate syndication. And now your host, Whitney Sewell.
I'm Whitney Sewell, host of the Real Estate Syndication Show. We interview experts every day to help you master your real estate syndication business. Today we have Vinny Chopra as a guest. Thank you for being on the show, Vinny.
Thank you. Thank you, Whitney. It's a pleasure to be on your show. I've known you for a few months, and I'm very excited to be on your show.
Vinney Chopra came to the U.S. from India with $7 in his pocket, sold encyclopedias and Bibles door to door as a student, graduated from George Washington University, and became a mechanical engineer. As a multifamily syndication expert, he has facilitated over 26 successful syndication deals and has acquired and managed a very successful real estate investment portfolio worth over $200 million. Vinny has been a professional fundraising consultant and motivational speaker for over 35 years. He has given over 10,000 exciting speeches and seminars on fundraising, positive thinking, enthusiasm, goal setting, balanced living, and has been involved in business coaching. He travels and gives live presentations and webinars on wealth building, creating wealth with multifamily investing, value-add win-win negotiations, emerging markets, market cycles, economic funding, commercial property analysis, due diligence, investing in multifamily, and the art of raising private money. I'm looking forward to this interview, Vinny. You're obviously an expert, and we are thrilled to have you. And could you give us maybe a little more about your background, how you got into real estate specifically, and why syndication?
Oh, sure, Whitney. Actually, like I said, you read it. I came from India. I'm a mechanical engineer. I always wanted to be one, and then I wanted to do my MBA in marketing. I thought engineering and marketing mesh will be great in this great land of opportunity in India. I was a young boy at that time, $7 in my pocket. I arrived in Washington, D.C., and rest is history. I went to sell books, like you said, Bible books in Atlanta, Georgia, Pulaski, Virginia, and South Carolina. And then what I found was that I was not really cut out to be an engineer. I was going to be more in that outside world to be able to build relationships and use my hands a lot more in gestures like I do now and so forth. And that's what got me into promotional consulting job. And then I stayed with that company for a long time. But my wife and I always, when I got married 38 years back, we were moving to San Francisco to open the division of the fundraising company that I worked for. And that's when a lot of our friends were talking about real estate, more so in California as compared to Ohio, where we were. And that's what led us to, okay, let's go and buy single family homes. So we kept on buying as much money we saved, leverage it out, and then you buy a single family home. I know the very first one we bought, $65,000 home, it raised, I think, increased value to $315,000. Can you believe? Five times? I couldn't believe it, And right nearby, 1 hour away from where we lived, right here in the Bay Area, we refinanced it, pulled out $275,000 out of it at a very low percentage. That just gave us so much to talk about because we were able to pull that money. Now we were investing that money to buy more single family and more single family and more. We kept on buying as much money we could save. But in 2004, I became a broker. And with my consulting company business, I could not go to another business, full time. So I decided, okay, what can I use my, skills as a broker, not to open up a very big shop to sell and buy homes. Can I be an investor? So that was my premise where I said, okay, this is where I want to go into, maybe wholesaling or maybe go into, the hospitality, hotels or shopping centers or office, buildings or the mobile home parks. I looked into everything. One thing that really struck me, Whitney, was the multifamily. This is 2004 now, 2004. That's 14 years back. And I've never looked back ever since. I just want to say. And I'll tell your audience why I'm so fired up about multifamily.
That's incredible. So, but you started with single family. What pushed you towards syndication?
The main thing was, single families were great. They were giving me hedge on the income taxes and things like. The problem I had was managing them because they were in Arizona, in Georgia, in Texas, in India, in California, in Bakersfield, all over the place, right? And we were hiring management companies to manage them. So you give them 10% of the profits right there. But then also when the tenants called in for a request or something broke or fridge doesn't work or stove and toilet, all that just ate up a lot of the cash flows. So many times I found it looked good on paper, but when it was at the end of the year, I saw how much we made. It was not that good.
What caused you to realize how much you wanted to pursue syndication over the single family homes?
I would say that definitely the multifamily, I caught the vision. I'm a logical person, right?
Yes.
Being an engineer. So every single thing I looked at, multifamily, it's like 20 homes in one place or 100 homes in one place with 4 or 10 roofs or 15 roofs, having a technical tech guy right there at the property to take care of all the service requests, having like one manager at the property who will collect all the rents rather than dealing with so many property managers. And then also scaling it up was a big thing for me. I wanted to scale it higher than one transaction rather than 20 or 100 transactions. And loan qualifications, if you have 100 homes, you have to qualify for homes one at a time to get the mortgage on them. And by multifamily, having them in one bunch, I just loved it. That was the thing which really got me going, scaling it up. Now let's go to syndication part of it. We all have money, right? Your audience also have some money stacked away, in their savings and 401k and all that. They could buy like a 4-plex or 8-plex or 12-plex, but if they want to get 50 units or 100 or 200, like I go for 400 now, I've gone from a 0 investor to 130 investors now, where I can raise $6 to $10 million in about few days, let's say 4 days, kind of like that. So that 10 million, I can purchase a property of worth $35 million. 35 million. So the scaling is pretty strong in syndication.
Yes. Would you just give us your best definition of what real estate syndication is, kind of before we get into that? And I get that question all the time, and explain it. And just most people haven't heard of that unless they've been in the industry. And how do you explain that?
Oh, sure. Syndication in effect is, in layman's term, pooling of money. It's the pooling of money or using other people's money, OPM. That's another terminology. But syndication is kind of like joining the hands of the like-minded people who want to invest in a deal. Could be multifamily, could be office, could be anything,
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, it's a syndication legal structure to put the money together, to not make it a Ponzi scheme. That's the other word which is out there. Why should I give you 50,000? What's the legal structure? Am I going to be on the title of the property? Is my investment safe? All those things come in investors' mind. And that is so important because I love the syndication field right from the start, because the honest people who are really trustworthy, they can build their track record, have the transparency of their operation like I've done in my 4 companies. It has helped me a lot. From one investor who said, Vinny, would you be moving to Texas? I said, no. He said, do you have an experience? I said, no. He says, have you qualified for the loan? No. Everything was no. But he was so taken back with my little presentation of 5 slides that why multifamily. I was so excited. But 11 years back, 12 years back, right? And then he says, Vinny, I'll give you a check for 50,000.
Wow.
So that's how, just in half an hour, he made a decision to give me $50,000 check. Now he's got millions invested with me.
Wow. Tell us why multifamily? I know your company focuses strictly on multifamily, but why not consider mobile home parks or storage facilities or other things, commercial strip malls? Why multifamily?
Okay, good point. I really believe that multifamily is the way where you can add value quite a bit higher by increasing the rents. You can increase the rents by doing renovations, minor renovations of the apartment complex, fixtures, bringing the dog parks, doing the residence center, the media centers. We do the, tennis courts or things, exercise rooms, making the swimming pool a little bit better, making it a gated communities like we are doing now in Atlanta area. So those value adds made sense to me as a logical person, that not only I'm going to make money when we buy the property for cash flow, but also I can increase the NOI, net operating income, by increasing the rents and then decreasing the expenses. And that's what we have done. We have 2 acquisition companies now and 2 management companies. We have managed all our assets ourselves, which really gives us a very big break in savings, because we don't have to pay 20 to 30% extra to the management company because they gouge, invoices, and they get kickbacks and all that stuff.
Right.
There is a lecture I can give on that one because I've dealt with it. I've saved 1.6 million in just 3 years because of my negotiating with the contractors.
Wow. What would you say your specialty in your I know you've built a great team, but what is your specialty in the whole process?
Good point. Whitney, my specialty as a leader is that I can hire the right people and then give them the responsibilities and give them the freedom to operate. Because a lot of things I do very nicely, in the leadership and talking to the investors and all those things and underwriting and all. But then we have the management side of the company where we have the team leaders, the community managers who are well experienced, and they know the fair housing laws and all the different things that we need to. Moneil pays. Our company's name is Moneil. That's our kids' name, Monica and Neil. We combined the 2. And then we pay for all their certifications, for their classes, for their training. We take care of all that and then give them bonuses every 6 months. We give bonuses along with their making money, and also the commissions for the leasing. And we have contests. Now we are doing actually every month a gathering of all the employees like in Texas. And we do a barbecue at nighttime and do like a couple of hours of training every month. Plus, then they bring their children and everybody who can come, and we do really good team building, dinner also right there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Vinny, what would you say is the number one thing, though, that has contributed to your success?
The number one thing is my perseverance. I would say my positive attitude, my perseverance. It took us a long time to make, our acquire of the 14 units we bought. 14 units. It took us 9 months, 9 to 10 months, but we were working on 14 units and 109 units at the same time. It's just that on Monday we closed on 14 units, and Friday of the same week we closed on 109 also, which was a stellar financing, by the way, in the down deep of the market going down and everything. But raising money, that's what I want to talk about. Syndication is such a great world, because if you want to scale up, if you want to get not stuck in the 4 complexes, 4-plex or 8-plex or 12-plex, but go to 50, 70, 100, 150, 200, 1,000, 5,000 units. It's amazing. And there is money all around us. Our family, our friends, our relatives, they have money in 401ks, they have money in cash, in stock market, in CDs, in precious metals, all over the place. Syndication is the world I teach, and that is the world where we can combine the efforts of everybody legally, and give them returns, which they don't have to. They'll be limited partners, Class A members in the legal structure, and our company or your company would be in B, Class B. So Class A gets paid first in preferred rates, like the one I'm doing now, $50 million fund. Class A gets 8% returns, or 9 or 10, depending on how much they're investing, But then they also share the equity gains. See, that's why I tell my my students and my friends and everybody, hey, I'm looking for investor partners, not just investors. I'm looking for investor partners because they are not only getting the cash flow while we are keeping the asset, but they also get the gains at the end when we sell it or when we refi it, they get the money back and things like that, waterfalls. There are all these different terms,
Right.
We could talk about that and more in detail.
Can you explain why it would be beneficial to be a partner as opposed to just raising the capital and being paid for raising that portion, or what would that look like?
Oh, sure. See, the thing is, you always want to be a partner on the joint venture side as a general partner. That's what I do also now. Anybody who's helping to raise money, they become a part of Moneil on the
Right.
general partner side in a proper LLC, manager LLC, that my syndication attorneys have put together. And then they are able to see up close the whole operation and get involved in understanding it. And also they could then write on their resume that, they were not getting just $50,000 or $60,000 as a finder's fee, right? For finding a property or finding some investors and things like that. But they are able to actually become on the general partner side, which can go on their resume.
Right.
And that goes a long way. Goes a long way.
What is the number one thing right now that I could do to improve my real estate syndication business or someone else can do?
Right away, I would say that if you're buying, smaller number of units, I would say go ahead and start having an elevator pitch ready right away. Very succinct, and practice that in front of the mirror in the bedroom. And you say that, hi, I'm always looking for investors who are equity partners in a legal structure. You got to say that in a legal structure where we buy multifamily assets that are actually in the emerging markets. You got to use those key words which will get people excited about you, and what you are talking about, with enthusiasm, with great attitude. And the good part is that we buy them, they are cash flowing on day one. When we purchase them, we are very conservative in our approach. You got to say that word, that line, conservative in our approach. And then we add value to the assets to increase the net operating income or profits, and also the valuation. And our investor partners also get the gains. Majority of the gains are given to them, and would you be interested in meeting with us? That's all. So you got to have a succinct elevator pitch and talking to everybody in the grocery store, banks, RIA meetings, Toastmasters meetings, the Chamber of Commerce, no holds barred. Never rationalize anybody. It's amazing. Everybody's got money. And once they feel that trust and everything with you, they will tell other people and other people and other people. I never had a website for almost 9 years. 9 years. No website. And all the investors from 0 to 130 now, they have all been through the word of mouth, and it's amazing. That's the one thing I'll tell you or anybody, to get lots of investors excited about. And then, of course, the second plate I talk about is the brokerage. You've got to talk to the brokers in the area you are buying and give them specific numbers. Don't just go there and say, hey, I'm looking for multifamily. That doesn't tell you. I'm looking for a B or C minus, product or multifamily in this range to this range, 15 to 50 range, of units in this area of your town. And could you help me? Because I have money raised already. See, you
Nice.
got to say that I have equity partners. A lot of brokers will not deal with you if you don't say those right words, value add and equity, and I have the equity raised and all that. I have investors. Just say that I have investor partners who are bringing the money to the deal. Don't tell them that you are doing syndication. See, brokers want to sell the property. That's what it is. And again, I really promote that we should work with the listing brokers, because they could really have the back of their seller and your back also, because they have fiduciary responsibility to make the deal, a fair responsibility to both sides. But who knows the temperature of the seller? The listing agent.
Right.
So that's why I promote not to have buyer agent. Sometimes you might need a buyer agent, but I think in the first, 2, 3, 4, in my case, I've kept all 26 with listing agent, no buyer agent. And I'm a broker in California. I decided not to take 200,000 commissions, split commission. I give that to the selling broker.
Wow.
And they love me. They love me because they make double the money. So they give me napkin listing in my book, which is coming up sometime. It's not pocket listing. It's a napkin listing, because the brokers are just trying to get a listing. And I got the same property in the Texas area from 5 brokers. Same property.
Wow.
Got the listing.
How do you know which broker you're going to use?
Oh, number one, I always kept that. I have the email sequence, and I tell them all, hey, the one that brings the first is going to get my business. That's the right way to do it.
Let's go back to speaking to the networking and speaking to those people with your elevator pitch, having that prepared when you're just getting started and you don't have the track record like you do, Vinny. How do you navigate that conversation when they're asking you, well, have you done this before?
Good point. Very good point. You got to come totally sincere. You cannot lie. So I talk about building a credibility kit. It's so important that you get recommendation letters from the people you have dealt with in real estate or otherwise, or the jobs you are at, and you have all your biodata filled out very nicely in a nice, beautiful brochure, to put down everything. You got to put the kitchen and the sink and everything, right? And then have a PowerPoint presentation with your family, with your kids' picture, your, involvement in the church, and, where you are and all that, because you are building credibility. See, you got to put all those things in writing in a beautiful way in the PowerPoint, or print it out at Vistaprint in color and bind it, 3-ring binder, 5 pages, 10 pages, whatever it is. That's your credibility kit. And then you got to put in the team, your real estate broker. Ask them if they wouldn't mind putting their name in there. If they have a coach, myself or somebody, putting it in their brochure, their picture and who they are and what their portfolio is about. You have to ask all those. And then you have the syndication attorney, like mine or anybody's. You got to build a team, and the broker. All those things have to be in a beautiful package to show to the investor, because they need to see, even though you're new, that's who I was, 14 years back, right? But where I am now, dealing over 200 million with this fund, 50 million, we're going to buy $250 million more. So we'll be at $500 million with a B, in multifamily. Wow. And I just stayed in one course. That's the other thing I would like to tell your audience. Don't flounder. Don't go around everywhere to get free information, but get a coach, get a mentor, and, crush it, crush it right there with one. It's so important that you are, passionate about what you're doing. You decide about multifamily, stay with that. Don't go to, the wholesaling. Wholesaling, again, if I may say that, it's kind of like one-time pay, very small pay. You get 5,000, 10,000, 20,000. Multifamily, you make hundreds of thousands.
Wholesaling's a job.
It's a job. It's a job. Flipping is a job, total job. You're flipping a home. You're tied for 3-4 months. Your money's tied up. Now you're selling it. You have to do one more flip. You have to find one more. In multifamily, you buy one time, you're set for life.
Right.
You're set for life, literally, And then nothing to take away from mobile home. I know you mentioned it. I just feel like the quality of people that you're working with at the mobile home parks, nothing to take away from them, it's a smaller number. It's a smaller number of the rents and a smaller number. I think the expenses are lower, but multifamily is the name of the game. The millennials are liking portability. They are not liking to live in the mobile home parks. They are not liking to live, in other places. They're liking C plus B, B minus facilities with swim pools, with exercise rooms, with all these things. And they love to be mobile. They don't want to buy a home. Our baby boomers are downsizing. They are selling their homes to move into apartments, senior livings. Students, they have to have apartments near to the university. So if you look at it, we have great 35 to 40 years of great multifamily, demand, pent-up demand. There are articles after articles that the USA is a renter's nation. It's gone much, much higher. Pat Heben and I just did an interview. He sold $1 billion in real estate. He just interviewed me, and I took him through all the graphs on the podcast, which tells where we are going in the last 20 years, where we are going into the future. Even the immigration, I didn't talk about that. People coming from abroad with no credits and nothing like that, if they don't have the money, they can afford the homes. So
they have to rent.
Multifamily is the way to do it.
All
and
right,
the
Vinny.
tax advantages are huge for the investors, for us as the syndicators. Amazing with the appreciation, the segregated or cost segregations that President Trump just, announced and all that. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, we could be making money all year long, but then show negative income because of accelerated depreciation. And the investors love it because they don't have to pay the taxes.
Right. Well, Vinny, you have provided such great content, such good value in a very short amount of time. Unfortunately, we are out of time, but what's the best way for people to get in contact with you and learn about what you're doing?
Thank you. Thank you, Whitney. They could definitely text me. I give out my number. Can you believe it? I'm very busy, but I'll text them back. My team will, 925-766-3518, 925-766-3518. Or if they would like to get my underwriting, the deal analyzer for free, that's the deal, DEAL multifamilyacademy.com. Or they could text the word syndication. Oh, that's your name of the show. What a great name, syndication, to 474747. So if they text the word syndication to 474747, they will get so much materials, free materials from my university and what I've been teaching and all that. My blueprints and lots of great stuff.
That's great. We'll be sure to have it in the show notes of how to get in contact with Vinny. Vinny, thank you so much for being on the show. I ask that you please subscribe and give us a rating, and we will see you tomorrow. Thank you, Vinny.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. That's great. Awesome.
Thank you for listening to the Real Estate Syndication Show, brought to you by Life Bridge Capital. Life Bridge Capital works with investors nationwide to invest in real estate, while also donating 50% of its profits to assist parents who are committing to adoption. Life Bridge Capital, making a difference, one investor and one child at a time. Connect online at www.lifebridgecapital.com for free material and videos to further your success.